Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is a little project that I think is pretty cool. It's relatively easy to replicate, and I think is best shown by a demonstration. So what you have here on the left hand side is a window with a small P5.js script that I wrote that takes a machine learning model, and this machine learning model has been trained on a bunch of objects in my working table, and I'll show you how this works. So as you can see, when I place scissors, it recognizes the scissors, and over here we have this is the MQTT broker. So every time, let me show you these together. I'm going to drag this one over here so that you see the video input and you see the result in the MQTT broker. So over here you have, so my P5.js sketch is connected to the broker, and over here you have a topic called prediction, which is what this sketch is publishing. And as you can see, the prediction at the moment is nothing, but that's because also here we have nothing, so the table is empty. That's one of the labels that I trained the model with. And when I put a scissors, you see that the model automatically recognizes those scissors and sends an MQTT message to the broker that potentially can trigger an interaction somewhere else with another machine standing somewhere else on the internet. There are a few more categories. So I trained it in Mandarin. And as you can see, every time that there is another prediction, I put 2 mandarins, that's still a mandarin, 2 mandarins and a scissor, that's still a mandarin. Yeah. There is a third object, this little plant, that appears as indeed correctly identified as little plant. And when I remove it, nothing gets recognized as well. Little plant, nothing. Little plant, rotate the little plant, nothing. Little plant, nothing, and so on. I guess you get the gist. I'll show you a bit how I did this and how you can replicate something like this yourself fairly easily. So yeah, if you go to Teachable Machine, I'll provide you the URL in the class notes. So let's see what we have over here. So at the moment, I have a classifier machine learning model. A classifier is a model that basically takes, in the case of Teachable Machine, it supports images, sounds, and also body poses. And you train the model using a bunch of examples. In this case, I provided webcam images. So in this category, for example, this label, I have 96 image samples, and what I did is basically just place a mandarin in different positions, rotate it, turn it around, place a second mandarin. So the more examples you provide, of course, the more reliable your model will be. Teachable Machine already comes with a webcam plugin, so you can just hold to record whatever is under your webcam, and it will add samples to that category. You can also change the label of that class, and you can create new classes. So here you can add a class. And what I did is basically create 4 different classes, one for the mandarin, one for the little plant, one for scissors. Here in scissors, as you can see, I gave it examples of a scissors rotated. That's because the machine learning models, they tend to literally learn what you give them. So, you know, if you give them scissors are always pointing to the left, it might not recognize scissors are pointing to the right. So you have to provide enough samples that it can learn from. And then I just provided it with another sample of nothing, with light on and light off, of just the little desk, my cutting mat there. Once you're done providing examples, you can train the model. by clicking this button here. There will be a video when you first access Teachable Machine, so it's fairly straightforward. And as you can see right now on the preview, this window over here, I have once the model is trained, you have the 4 classes that you have identified here on the left hand side, and then a live video feed. And it tells you, so now we see that there is a 100% certainty that there is nothing there. So when you work with machine learning models, especially classifiers, what these models do is they learn to identify the labels that you give them statistically. So that means that it will give you a percentage of certainty of how certain the machine is that what you placed under it, for example, is a mandarin. So right now it's 100% sure, but if, for example, I mess around with the image by sticking my finger in there, you can reduce. Okay, that's still pretty sure. I'm going to place another mandarin. And the little plant back again. So as you can see, you get different, depending on what's visible, you get different rates of certainty. But once you have a steady image that is very much like the examples you provided, it gets 100% certainty on at least one category. And that's the basics of it. Once you train it, you can export the model. And over here you can do 2 things that will matter to us. One is you can download it. So you can download the model and store it in your computer. So that will give the weights and the biases of the neural network, and you can download them as a file. And then they provide here, Google provides you here with a piece of vanilla JavaScript that loads TensorFlow and all the things that you need to basically run that model. And here P5.js, the Google community, the Google team that made Teachable Machine is very, very active in the P5.js community. So they also provide you with a starter code on P5.js on how to use that model if you download it. And the second thing that you can do is to upload, which is what we're going to be doing for the purpose of this sprint. So when you upload it, in my case, it's already up to date, so I don't need to re-upload it. But once you upload it, what Google will do is they will give you this URL, which you can copy. And then you go to the starter code that I provide, here in Sketch. And all you need to do is remove this URL here, so this address. That's the address of the machine learning model, and paste the one that you just created, and then just save this. Additionally, I also left up here another array so that you can configure your MQTT broker. So here I'm using one called Staging Cloud Shifter IO. It's the one I use for testing, but I really encourage you to create, to have, let's say, 4 servers for the entire class, so that several teams can share one, but not necessarily all of us the same one. And then you can change the settings here. You can create a token. Whoops. All right, that's timed out. I'll do that again. So over here I created a token that is just specific for P5.js, and that's my password, which you paste here, and then the username is always the name of the machine, so that matches the first entry in the cloud instance. And that's it. And then you just run it, and then you have a machine learning model running on a P5.js sketch that can speak to other devices through MQTT. How cool is that? Well, I hope I hope that this has been interesting to you, that you can find some uses for it, and that you can make go make something cool with it. All right, cheers.